Oh, you got me. Okay.
Okay.
So we were on relationship victories, and I just
Yes.
thanking you for coming and getting me from the basement when I was studying up to like 3 o'clock in the morning for a test I had to take for training. So that was nice. You always have my back. Trying to make sure I get some rest before I went back into class the next day. So I appreciate that, and I thank you for that.
Okay.
Then we also went out more than once this week.
We
So
kind of caught up from last week.
yeah, yeah. So all that was nice. We had some nice scenery, nice food, nice drinks, all that. So it was a very good stretch.
Yeah, it was. I would say it was a.
What about you? What was your favorite or your
Um,
victories?
let's see. As far as victories, it was just a really nice chill week. I couldn't. It was a hard work wise. I seemed like preoccupied with a lot of things, and I don't really know what that was about. But it was just a hard work week. So, I kind of had to take some me time, take some self care time, just to
Got your little mani petty.
yeah, did a little
Went out with your sisters.
mani petty, went out with my sisters, and went out with the family a few times.
Yeah.
So it was something that I needed. I think every once in a while you just have to take a pause from the normal routine of work and the grind and just celebrate yourself. So, um, which I think allows me to show up better for you. I think sometimes as wives, we think we can do it all, and it's really hard to fit ourselves in that groove of things. So,
What do you mean do it all? What's that mean?
oh, be the wife, be the banker, be the cooker, be the cleaner, be the Uber driver, still be an employee, or either own our own business, still take care of you, still do all those things. We kind of
Mm.
lose
And you
ourselves.
didn't even name outside the house. That was all
Right, and that
inside the
was
house.
all
You
inside the
you
house.
go
So
outside the house and still try to help
right,
people.
so right, don't even talk about the other people that we have. Yeah, so
Yeah, I think today alone she helped two other people outside the house. Just today, y'all. Not even talking about the whole week. Just today, and it ain't even dark yet.
right, which is why I am, as I have gotten older, I am now a self advocate of self care. Um, I didn't think I really needed it when I was younger, but and I thought it was selfish, to want to spend money on myself. Um, take money, that would go to maybe my daughter or my son or even you or to the household to spend on myself. But,
Mm.
as I'm getting older, I realize that there are just some times I'm just going to have to do it, and it feels good. So I'm going to embrace it in this new season. I'm going to embrace it and take advantage of it.
And I've been telling you to do that, but
You have. Yeah. And like I said, it's a mental thing for me. I
hmm
think we as women grow up sometimes believing we have to be everything for everybody else, and we forget and lose who we are to ourselves, which will then reflect on our relationships, with the most important people in our lives. So, which is why I think this forum is so important. Just saying that it's okay, in marriage to prioritize that, um, right.
among other things, yes.
Right. I mean, yes, among other things, yes. So, as I stated before, I think we might have been on mute, but this is committed to us, the Committed Chronicles co-founders, Sonny and Lisa, and we just wanted to make a safe space for committed couples to just be able to be okay and encourage each other. Marriage is not always easy. You have your ups and downs. You have your seasons where it's going really, really good, and you're like nothing can touch us. And then you have your seasons where I don't want to look at you. I don't like you. But at the end of the day, we're gonna work this out and get over this hump. So, we just want to be encouragement for couples on that aspect. And so today we're going to talk about roles and responsibilities in marriage. And even the perceived societal roles and responsibilities that we think that we're supposed to have. um I know it looks different for every marriage. But I think just growing up and with what's in media, movies, girls are told to be a certain way and guys are told to be a certain way. So we just want to touch base on that today. But I was thinking of a hot topic. I ran across something on social media where there was a lady. She was a surgery resident, and so she had completed a 13-hour work shift. And then she came home and proceeded to cook dinner for her husband because she was expected. Her husband expects her to cook, and he's expected to get a hot meal each and every day
After a 13-hour shift?
after a 13-hour shift. And
Huh.
so I wish I didn't get the video up. So yes, it shows her coming home. She's still in her scrubs. She's getting the food together. She's charting. She has her laptop open while the food is, simmering. She's charting, going back to getting the food together, and at the end, she shows this nice, pretty meal, and it's for her husband. And it brought to mind. I said, this is a perfect segue
Wow.
into what we perceive as our roles and responsibilities.
Wow.
So, from your take, do you think that that was excessive, or that is something that should be expected?
So I think it's I think I've said this. Well, you know this about me. I think everything should be in somewhat of a balance. It's not going to be split 50-50, but it just can't be. You know what I mean? Out of pocket, all the way out, all the way to the left to me. Um, because at this point, if he wants to stick so much to roles, then why is she working? 13-hour shifts. It ain't like somebody's just driving a bus somewhere.
Right,
Like it's a part time job, and it was just, oh, I worked 2 hours and I came home, and he's like, okay, that's 2 hours. 13 hours plus what she's then doing is stressful on top of it.
right,
You know what I mean? You can't mess up in that type of line of work,
right. Oh, absolutely.
which is it's another level of stress. It's not like she's bagging groceries. You know what I'm saying? You can
Right,
drop
right,
back. You
right,
can. And I don't mean no disrespect to certain people's jobs, but I mean
right.
it just is what it is. You can mess up in certain jobs, and they can yell cut, and you can start over.
Hmm.
So the stress level is not there. But there's some jobs you don't get a do over. So yeah, what she was doing, the stress level, all that combined, that's out of pocket to me, in
Hmm.
my opinion. That's out of pocket.
But what if they came in the beginning of their marriage and they had those expectation discussions, and he's like, because there are some people who were brought up where they saw their mom fix dinner, and they had a dinner every evening, no matter what. And the mom had a job,
Mhm.
but every evening their dad, and the family had a hot meal. So,
But but most of those cases it was still balanced out.
yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you can't do it the way you agree upon doing it.
Hmm.
It just seems unfair. That just seems unfairly balanced to me from what I got
Yeah,
from
it
you
was
right
just,
there. It
yeah,
just
that
seems
that that's all that it was. It was just like a
yeah.
minute video of her cooking. She was in her scrubs, and I don't work 13 hours by no means, but I do know how coming home still in my work clothes, making dinner,
Hmm.
but like I said, that is something that was instilled in me. I don't think it was like early on in our relationship that wasn't a requirement, like, because your upbringing, you didn't, well, I mean, you had meals every day, but I don't think you put it on
Not
me to
early. Not early on.
put, put it on me to
Had sardines. Um,
to be that person. But I
no.
took it upon myself because I also grew up in a household where my mom made sure we had dinner every day. Like, she cooked every day for my dad,
Hmm.
and my dad did not do leftovers. So um that I thought coming into a relationship that would be, what is
Hmm.
required of a wife.
Hmm. Yeah, because several times I had to tell you, like, you didn't get that from me. I never put that on you, because we've had those talks, and I think it was so heavy on you sometimes, and you would turn around and kind of look at me, and I'm like, I ain't never said that, and you were like, yeah, you did, but it took you a minute to think, because that's how much I think society does affect y'all that much, that sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I guess it wasn't you, but it's still there. It's not like
Yeah,
it's not real. It's there.
right.
So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
because I think everyone has, like, at least wives. Like, a good wife keeps the house in order. Make sure, the kids are properly dressed. Make sure that there's food, and the man goes out and works.
Mm.
But now we've gotten to a point where women are working too. So, and I don't think that was ever put into play.
Right.
I mean, I know my grandmothers, both of them, they didn't work. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they raised the children, and that's a whole different type of lifestyle. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of changes that don't get brought up, and then you factor in not having premarital marital counseling on top of that,
hmm
and it's why, I mean, that's why you get a lot of chaos and confusion. I
hmm
mean,
oh, absolutely,
because I mean, it's
absolutely.
not discussed, it's not prepped. People are not prepped for it.
hmm
So
Yeah,
yeah, I definitely agree. But in on that topic, I think that to me that's a little too.
a little too
I
far.
get them agreeing on something
Right,
if but even then, you might have to revisit. Like, wait a minute, we agreed on this, but I didn't know I was going to be working 13 hours or
right,
whatever. I don't know the full story, so
right. Yeah,
that just seems out
a
of
little
pocket.
excessive. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, and I don't know if there would be like lightweight resentment. Like I done worked, I've been on my feet, and I come home and I still got to make a dinner for you. Like,
I can answer that. Yeah, ain't no. I don't know it. Yeah, there would be. Eventually, there's going to be.
yeah,
Eventually, there's going to be because you can't keep up with that. You
right,
just your body is going to break down, even if you mentally think that's what you can do
hmm
and agree to that somehow.
right,
I don't know if that was a trick, but I don't know how you would agree to that.
right. Okay,
I don't know.
okay. So yeah, so that yeah, I didn't tell you about that earlier. I wanted to see what your
She'd be trying to
what your
surprise me
what your
with the
response
hot
would
topic
be.
sometimes.
What your response would be on
Oh,
that.
I don't think that's crazy.
A little excessive. Okay.
Mm,
Okay,
a
so
lot.
then if we're going into roles, we're going to, break down about seven different roles,
Mhm.
traditional roles, and see, what's tradition and what, how we've kind of navigated through that.
Okay.
So the first one, financial management.
Okay.
And I know going into our marriage, I think you wanted to, I don't know. I kind of felt that it should fall on me because I had went to school for accounting. I got my degree in that, and I'm like, okay, I'm good with numbers. I should be good with money. I remember early on, I may have uh, been late paying a bill or something, and you kind of took that away from me, took that job away from me.
So here's the thing. You can and you are great and wonderful at that. You are. But there's another aspect, there's another element to um paying bills and doing different things and just managing things.
hmm
When you're managing anything, you have to have another element, and that is not your strongest, and that is time management. Not your strongest suit.
Okay.
So as great as you are, and I give you your props, as great as you are, right here, like sometimes your time management, hmm,
Okay.
sometimes. So yes, and factor in my immaturity on top of at that time. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I
And
did.
and my feelings were hurt because I kind of felt like, you know, I mean, you did the card. I'm the man of the house. I'm gonna take this over, and I'm gonna do
Executive
this,
decision.
and you're just gonna fall in line and take it. So
Hmm.
I
I,
think I kind of earned it back, and
yeah, yeah, you did.
so we kind of
I did say coupled with my immaturity at the
right,
time
right,
because
right.
I could have gave a lot more grace than that. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So I think and I don't know if traditionally the men are the ones that take care of the money. I don't know what that is.
What depends on what you mean traditionally. 1950, like what do you mean traditionally? Because yes, back then,
Yeah, the men took care of
yeah,
everything. So I do think
but
sometimes.
they was also beating their wives and doing a lot of other stuff. So we can't.
Mhm.
we, we have to evolve and still try to keep some of the good and take out the
You're
bad
right.
as well.
You're right. You're right. You're right. I mean, I'm glad we kind of yeah, it was dicey. We kind of learned, and I think
Mhm.
now we have a style that works best for us. I take care of a certain amount of bills, and you take care of a certain amount of bills. But we had those conversations.
Hmm. Yeah, as men, we let our ego and pride get in the way a lot of times, and then as couples, male or female, I think sometimes we are hearing what's not being said. Like,
Mhm.
are you not calling me a man because I, you know what I mean? I,
Mhm.
I I didn't do this or that, and vice versa. We get
Hmm.
defensive. We get our egos get in the way.
Okay.
Period. So, all that factored
Okay.
in. That you have to be careful with that, and that's something we learned later. Just
Hmm.
not taking things personal because most of the time your spouse is trying to help you, and they ain't trying to attack you. So, um, with you paying, I know you weren't trying to hurt me, not
Right.
paying the bills, but yeah, me. You gotta remember, my dad's a sergeant as I'm growing up, and
Right.
he's teaching me about bills and credit, which most men don't do, especially most black men.
Right.
So me being schooled in that at 12 and 13,
Hmm.
I took it pretty serious, probably too serious. But I don't want marks on my credit. I mean, I'm still like that.
Yeah.
I don't want because I don't. It's already hard enough for us,
Hmm.
so I don't need someone else telling me I can't do this or that as I'm trying to make it in life. So yeah, when something's late and then someone else can come in or send me a letter and tell me you ain't this is not. I spent my whole life trying to make sure I am.
Okay.
So yes, I took that way and like, no, we ain't gonna have no late payments, and there ain't no reason. We can communicate and we can make sure that ain't gonna happen. We're both working. There's no reason for it. So yes, I took that very personal. And not that you were trying to attack me. It's just my personal hit on it was like, I'm not allowed this whole household. I'm trying to protect
Right.
the whole household. So I'm not trying to allow somebody else to be a fire darts at us.
Okay. I get that. I get that. But I will say my feelings were hurt. I mean, because we didn't present it in the best light. Like you just basically said, you ain't doing this no more because you
Right.
you messed up. I'm gonna take this from you.
Right.
And I was just like, what? That's a ding against my
Again,
whatever.
take it personal.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
Whatever. So
So I think a lot of times when we set things up, like we should a lot of times say, hey, instead of me saying, why'd you put that there?
right.
I should be like, hey, listen, I noticed you put that there, but I don't, and maybe you have a different reason, but right now, if you put that there, it makes the internet go off or whatever.
Right.
We probably should like preface it a little more,
And it's
and
all
just as
about
couples.
tone instead of blame.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it's blame and timing.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, I think we've come over that little hurdle with that. And so I think we kind of
yeah. Sometimes we still,
yeah.
sometimes we have here and there moments, but yeah,
Yeah. So
way better.
okay, what are your thoughts on household chores?
Uh, I guess I am old school on some stuff. Like, I, it's weird to me sometimes when I go out there. Like, I think we got a neighbor over there. The woman, the wife cuts the grass.
Hmm.
I've never had you cut the grass. I've never said go out there and cut the grass. I think you cut it once when I was. I don't know. I think maybe you cut it one time
Hmm.
out of 20 years.
Hmm.
Maybe once because I just feel like not gonna have you doing that or take out the trash or. And it's not that I don't think that you like if you did grab the trash, I'm not gonna be like, oh, and
Hmm.
faint. But I mean, I just that's I don't. I feel like a man should be doing some of that, like heavy lifting. You should, just heavy stuff in there. Sometimes, my wife is a watermelon eater, so sometimes, yeah, yeah. Sometimes it can get heavy. So I just feel like I just feel like sometimes it can be a little heavy. There's no sense in you taking it up when I'm here and I can do it, or yeah. So some stuff I am old school on that. And then there's other things I feel like you know, if one person is a little better at that or can handle it a little better, or this or that, I mean, it can be discussed and you kind of fall into different roles. But yeah, I don't think it has to be necessary one way or the other. But yeah, you're right. I'm just because of my upbringing, I am sometimes like that still.
Which is really funny to me because I had my whole house before I got married, and I was
Taking out trash
taking
and
out
doing stuff.
trash and cutting my own
Hmm.
grass. So for me, that's not a big thing. That's not
Hmm.
a big deal for me.
Hmm.
I know it was for you, but it never bothered me. I'm like, if
Yeah.
if I had time, but you're a little OCD about having your grass cut, so yeah, I'm never going to be on that level. Um,
Well,
so I just let you have
I
it.
don't know from OCD, but okay. I don't know about that. I
Yes,
ain't trying
there's
to.
competition in the neighborhood on who
I don't
cuts
know
their
about
grass
that.
first.
I just ain't trying to
Yes.
look like the house is boarded up and we got a foot long grass. You be thinking it's okay. I don't think that's okay.
Okay.
Why is that okay?
Because I don't think it's as bad as you think it is, but I'm gonna let you have
I'm
it.
gonna take okay. Okay.
No, there's no.
Because when I don't, I
I
notice
know when
like
it's
if I'm
bad. I know when it's bad. I just,
you just what?
I, you've already set the groundwork that you're going to be the one cutting the grass. So,
Uh-huh.
and now
Uh-huh.
we have a son, so he can do the same. I mean, 20 years I haven't cut grass, so why would I start now?
Okay.
You established that for me.
Uh-huh.
Whatever.
Uh-huh. Sound like you backpedaled out of that one.
Whatever. What about cooking?
Oh, you've been waiting to get to this. She's been waiting to get to cooking.
Because I know there's some marriages where it's the cooking is shared.
Yeah. I have cooked for you.
You have?
Yeah. Oh, I have cooked for you, and you kind of did like this, like because I ain't from Alabama and I don't season it like you and all
I'm
that.
not
So
from Alabama either.
your family is.
Okay. So for me, yes, I like I said, I was brought up to be the
Mm.
cooker in the family, yada yada yada.
But I'm OCD. Okay.
But it would be nice to come home and be like, hey babe, instead of you like buying, like, hey babe, I cooked this whole
I did
meal
Japanese steakhouse at the old house, and you was like, "Let me fix this."
Okay.
I've done different things, and you
Can we count
fixed
on?
every
Can we
time.
count on one hand how many times?
Yes, 5. Yes.
Okay. So for sure, for cooking, it'll just always. Oh, but I mean, I kind of get tickled when I hear other guys are like, hey, I cooked this for my wife. I did this. I'm like, oh wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty
You
cool.
get tickled. Is that the word you use? Okay.
Okay. All right, we're gonna leave that. We're gonna leave that one alone. And let's go. Okay. What about laundry?
Laundry.
So
Everybody does laundry.
Everybody does laundry, but every once in a while you would just do your own laundry, which for whatever reason does something. I don't know if it's a trigger. Oh, I like that idea. If I asked you to take care of dinner for 2 weeks, for 2 days out of the week, would you? And not buy something, but like actually cook.
I would, but you would fix. You would sit there and go, or the plate. I've done this, y'all. She's tripping. I've done this, and when somebody don't eat the food you make, and they nitpick through it, if they don't fix it, they nitpick, or the whole plate is still sitting there. That's communication too.
Okay, but I think that I have gotten to the point where you can pick up some of my tips and how I do things that you would be good at it.
Okay, we can try that. Bet not here. Not one. Okay, we're gonna try it.
And I'll even let you do it on your day off, so you won't feel stressed or anything. Because I normally do it when I'm working. So if you do it
I
on
don't
your
care.
day,
I can do it. It don't matter.
okay,
It don't matter when. But we're gonna record her face when she's eating, tasting it though. We're gonna do that, and then y'all can see what I'm saying.
anything you make, I would love it.
We are recording, so I'm gonna just.
Anything you make, I
Ooh,
would love it.
ooh. You by the window too. You better. Mm,
Oh my goodness.
mm,
Anything,
mm.
I would. Yeah.
You are front.
I'm not fronting. I would love anything
I'm gonna play
because
this
it's
back.
the effort. Remember how you say things for me, like when I initiate, it's the effort. That's the same for me.
That is not. I've done this. I'm gonna record it next time.
10, 15 years ago.
No, it's been
Have we
okay.
done it since we've been in this
Okay,
house?
yeah. And you looked at it the same way you did in every house.
Huh. No, Sonny does not grill. I am the
Yes.
grill. You will set the grill up, but I cook.
Okay.
Because you know why?
I've grilled too. What are you talking about?
Okay, you don't have patience with grilling. As soon as the fire gets on it, let's throw the meat. there's a.
So how would you know that if I haven't grilled?
Okay, so you've grilled.
See.
You don't have patience with grilling.
See.
I'm the grill master.
Just say you don't like how I'm grilling. Then don't say I don't grill.
Okay, he grills. I'm the grill master.
Lord have mercy.
But you know what? And I'm gonna let you cook, and I will tell you guys how much I loved it.
Yeah, take a drink. I don't know what you're drinking. Go ahead and take a drink. Up here, in front of people saying stuff like that.
Okay, let's go back and talk about laundry. So I know, like for laundry, I would do for the kids and stuff. And then they got a little bit older, and I'm like, well, you guys got to start washing your own clothes.
Mhm.
And so I kind of feel like, okay, so it's our, our little normal thing. I wash. I think sometimes, and I don't even know why it bothered me. Like some days you would just wash just your clothes and leave mine still dirty, and I'm like, what's that all about?
That's rare, first of all. Second of all, I would have a lot more clothes dirty than you because
Okay,
you be
but
hanging
just
your stuff back up because you
just
not no sweaty man. So a lot of times I would have more clothes than you. You have
okay.
like 4 pieces of clothes in there. I have like 28, and I was like, okay, I need to hurry up and wash these again because I got to get back into. So yes, there were times, but it wasn't like I was like, I ain't gonna wash your clothes. Like,
Okay. All right.
mm-mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted you to be funky. That's what it was.
Just like you just being, we in this together. You just washing your stuff. Okay, it could just be something in my mind.
Okay,
Okay, and that's
okay.
why we think differently. Yeah, on some things. What about childcare? Like feeding, playing with the kids and stuff. I know when the kids were younger,
Let me see if
we
you.
never. Okay, when I would say watch the kids, what I will say that I do appreciate is that you never said, I need. Do you want me to babysit the kids? So these are my kids.
No,
I'm gonna take care of my kids. So
no.
we never really had a problem with that per se. But I know that there's some roles that the mom, does takes care of all that, and then the dad, kind of gets them when they're a little bit older to, especially if they're boys, to play the games and stuff with. But
Mhm.
like the rearing, the bath time, the reading of the books, the tucking in is normally the
The
wife's.
nurturing.
Okay, well, guys, you guys can nurture too.
We do,
We do.
and I did nurture, just not the same as you. Like
Okay, so what was
from the
nurturing to
time they
you?
were, I would play with them. I would play with your nieces, your nephews, everybody, and you can ask any of them.
Okay,
Like I would play games with them. I would, if it was homework, all that. I would. It
you're a
wasn't
very good
all of it.
homework teacher. Yeah, you have way more patience than I do with homework.
Mm,
That just, yeah,
hmm
that was a thing for me.
Yeah, study all that. So yeah, I never. I mean, because the way I look at it is, the more we both put into them, the better they were gonna, the
Oh,
better chance they
absolutely,
were gonna have. Like I
absolutely,
said, it was hard enough.
right,
So
absolutely,
so no,
absolutely.
I never even thought about it. It wasn't a question for
Yeah,
me. I don't know.
yeah. Okay, so we had a comment about going back to the dinner. You could also like purchase some things and then put your touch on it, which that'd be cool too.
Hmm.
Hint,
Yes, that would be cool.
hint,
Is that
hint.
really okay? All right. I ain't gonna do nothing but push record. So okay,
Okay.
it's all good.
So yeah, I think for childcare, I mean, you definitely have to have those conversations before the kids are born. And like I said, there are some men who don't really want any part of that. Like they want to wait till the kid gets a little bit older and then step in and have that fatherly role. But I do appreciate that you were like always there in the thick of things. Except maybe the infant nights, the breastfeeding, that was, yeah, you
Hmm.
was, yeah, I was all
I
by
couldn't
myself.
help you with that.
You couldn't, but
What you want me to
and the walking at night when they were, we had one that was a little crier.
do?
So, but I mean, yeah, I think for like childcare, you were really good with that, and very good with the homework aspect of it, because yeah, I don't have the patience at all.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what about emotional support? Providing support during different times. I don't think we ever talked about it. I think that is just a dance that you have to do, knowing each other. Like, I know when there were times that I just had to step in and be that support for you. I know sometimes the woman is, I guess men are not taught to be so vulnerable. So, maybe at times, I don't know, to stand in the gap per se. I don't
You
know.
got it. I mean, I guess you probably have to break it down further, but I mean, I think I get what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of times we don't know how to be. I think what you're, if
Right.
I know what you're saying,
Hmm.
probably don't know how because some of it has to be modeled,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I don't. So I don't know that that is something
and it,
that
and it
guys are getting
also,
shown.
yeah, and but there's some women who are very that may not know how to be present when their man is going through something. Like it's kind of hard, men are normally the strong ones. So when you guys do need that support.
I almost messed up and said like somebody. Okay, I got what you are here. Um,
um so I think we've done that pretty well. I mean, I think there's times you've known, to step in because I didn't have it. Like I was just going to just tap out um
yeah. I mean, I think a lot of times it's evident. So you
and that's just knowing
should
how
be
to
able to.
read.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should be able to.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, some people aren't comfortable seeing their spouse in that vulnerable state. And it may just be that they don't know how to be soft about it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you should. Yeah,
Right. In
you
real
should
talk,
want
you
to,
should
but
want to,
that's
but sometimes it's hard based on, because
what you've
what I
seen.
will say, like my mom and even my dad's side, the aunts and uncles, like they're not what's the best way to say it? They're not really mushy people, like, shake it off. Uh. So
Like you
to
expect it from the men, but
right,
we're
but I have
just
some women, some
yeah,
aunts that are
yeah,
the same way.
right,
So they would not know what to do if a man is vulnerable. They would not know how to step in and hold them up.
right.
So that's why I'm talking about the emotional support. Like sometimes if you're being with the A personality, the strong woman, whatever that is, sometimes you're just gonna have to let that guard down and show your spouse that you can be soft, that soft place for them to land.
That would be good. It sounds good. Sounds good.
I mean, but it's hard. I do know that it's hard. I've talked to some people that they don't know how to be soft for their man,
All
and
right.
and then there's some men who don't want to seem when their wives need them. They don't know how to be that for them either. Like they don't know how to be vulnerable.
Yeah. First of all, we're trying to solve things, so you're right.
Right. And
We're we're,
sometimes we
we're
don't need
more
y'all to
attacked.
solve anything. We just need y'all to listen and let us vent. And sometimes I feel like you guys want us to preface that, like, and sometimes I have like, I don't need you to solve this. I want to rant. I need to let it out, and then I'll be done.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that it's probably been hard for you, because I don't need you to solve it for me. I just
Mm-hmm.
need to complain, and you'll be like, "Why are you complaining about?" Well, sometimes I just that is how the makeup is in my mind, and that's just the way it comes out.
Right.
So,
So right, that's the makeup in your mind. So that my dad's here, y'all. So he's downstairs in the basement. But you got to remember when I was growing up.
mhm,
Let's say I don't know, say 5 years old.
mhm.
You got to remember
Oh,
when
sorry
I
about
was
that.
growing up. Say 5 years old. You got to remember
Okay, sorry about that.
So if for someone with sergeant in the police department, he's that type of dude. So I fall down. He's like, anything in the world, walk it off.
Okay.
Okay. Why are you whining? Next, next play, next this or that. So when I'm hearing that, when you're like, oh, I want to vent, why are we venting about it? Why are you whining? Let's move on. We can't do nothing about it now. Let's move on. Put it in the past. That is what I was brought up doing
Okay.
and moving on and handling situations, getting them taken care of. I've seen it work. I come to you, meet you. I'm thinking, oh, it's worked over here for 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
whatever years. Okay, I can make this work. I can fix this, and we can make this work, and we can get this past. We can get this hurt away from you, bury it, and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I dealt with things.
Right.
So I'm not like understanding that you want to process it, you want to hold on to it for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I got to get rid of it as soon as it's like a hot potato. I'm like, oh, if oh, that's bad. That's how I dealt with it. If it was negative, I was done with it quick.
Okay.
So yeah, it was just different ways we were brought up, and not just brought up and just seeing it modeled. Like I had a full like game plan for getting rid of things
Mm-hmm.
and dealing with problems. Especially when you gotta remember what he did
Right.
is going to different houses and do that, and then basically I watched that and then did the job. So
Okay.
it was very ingrained, like ridiculous. So yeah, you're right. At first I didn't understand, and I mean, it wasn't like I was calling you. a panty waist or nothing, but I was looking at you like, the heck are you whining for? Let's move on. Let's get it taken care of. We can take care of this.
But know that there are sometimes, at least for me, there are sometimes, well, I don't need you to do anything but hold me. Let me cry it out. Let me yell it out. You don't have to do anything. I just need to feel your arms around me and feel that stability to know that there, at least everything else can be falling apart. But I got
Right.
this one person who may not understand why I'm freaking out, but they're there. So
What?
why I'm freaking out, if I'm screaming and stuff, you may not understand,
Mm-hmm.
but you're there to support me in that moment.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, that still took a while to learn that.
Oh, it
That's
did. Oh,
all. That's what I'm
absolutely.
saying.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Yeah,
you got to
because you
remember what fourth, fifth, sixth grade, seventh grade. Where was I learning that? What teacher was
true,
teaching me that?
true. Okay,
That
you're
there's no
right.
class for that.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Which was, yeah, why discussions are so weekly
Right.
discussions, weekly check-ins are so important because yeah, you're right. A lot of that stuff just isn't taught.
Hmm. There's so many other things that go on that people are trying to prep you for. It ain't these. It ain't these things.
Right. You're right. All right. Let's talk about your favorite topic, sexual intimacy. Because I know we never had this discussion going into the marriage on what that looked like. So when we first got married, how did you feel my role should be?
I don't know that I thought it was a role. I just
Or what was my responsibility to you, to us?
I think I thought our responsibility to each other was, and again, I was out of balance on this, but I just thought it was us first daily, like us first, and then everyone else. So yeah, it was hard for me to understand that you are going to, because maybe your mom don't feel like going to the store. You're going to go do that for her when she can do it, and she still works when she don't have to. So I was like, so yeah, I'll be confused by that. Like, you're doing stuff, and then you come back home and you're tired. So I would be like, "Whoa, wait a minute." Yeah, yeah, I didn't understand it. I'm just being honest. I didn't understand it. I'm like, wait a minute. I did not expect that. I will say that.
Okay.
But
So there was a lot of resentment in the beginning.
yeah, because like I said, I thought you leave and cleave, and I thought prioritize, like, me and you go to breakfast first, or me and you have a moment first, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now I get it with kids because they can't do for themselves.
Right.
But I think when it came to other people who can do for themselves, or who can delegate, or who can get somebody else to do it, and have plenty of other people to do it, yeah, sometimes that would be like, whoa, like,
Okay.
wait a minute.
And I guess for
Just being
me,
honest.
I saw it, and I really think that we probably should have had a conversation in the beginning, like what's reasonable intimacy for
Right.
for you,
Right.
because our numbers are totally different.
Hmm.
Like, in a perfect world for you, it'd be every day.
Or more, yes.
Okay. For me, it was not every day. That's all I can say. It wasn't every day, and I think
And that hurt me, y'all, because I'm like, you eat hot tamales every day, but you don't want this every day. My ego was so bloated, so bloated.
and it really had nothing to do
I
with.
know. I'm just
I
saying.
mean, there were so many, and like I said, there were some things that I should have been more intentional about.
I just thought I was better than I was, is what it was. I had a reality check. That's all. Humbling reality check. Like,
Okay,
no, you ain't that good.
well, okay. I mean, and there's some, there were some, things I had to really check myself on. But I think if we had had that conversation
Like
in the
what?
beginning about things that I had to check myself on,
Share.
about being more intentional, about listening to what you needed. Um,
What do I
being
need?
You need it every day.
Whatever.
You need initiation. You need your ego stroked. And so I really, in the beginning, did not understand the magnitude of that. I just thought we love each other. It's going to happen when it happens. Um, and I know God made you to think about it way, 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 way more than us. So I had to be a little bit more intentional about putting you in that space. So, and creating those times and not letting the kids get the best of me, not letting my job get me. So, and then any other outside activities where you're right. By the time, you and I got together, then I'm tired. I want to, then recharge for the next day and give it all to someone else and other things and not necessarily you. So I think we had many, many, many conversations, many passionate discussions um, about that. And I kind of there was
Mm.
sometimes that I kind of felt because you explained to me, your world was based upon Purple Rain, and here it is. I had never seen it, so like I've seen bits and pieces, but when it came out, my mother, I wasn't allowed to see it, so I that whole scene with Apollonian Prince. Um, when you showed it to me, then I was like, oh, okay, now I get why you
Like,
think these things. That's just a movie, but
right,
I,
right,
I, I get if that's all that you had coming up. I get that. And
right.
so for me, I'm still in the good girl. I'm holy. You get married, you made me an honest woman. Then I'm just going to go about and make sure that your house and everything is wonderful. And that little part, it's not addressed. So, we never had anything at church talking about it. I didn't know what to do. I just thought, hey, it happens, night when you go to bed. Da-da-da. I didn't know about the
Whew,
whole
man.
foreplay, yada, yada, yada,
Whew,
yada.
yeah.
So
Mm,
that is something that we really had to had to work on and give each other grace.
mm-hmm,
I mean,
mm-hmm.
just real talk. It was not easy. Like because you would get in a funk, and then
Yeah.
we would go through like a tit for tat phase. So because you a
Or
king,
I would try to. Yeah,
or you would do your
yeah,
do your run.
yeah.
So, um,
Because I was like, that's not for me.
right, yeah, yeah. So I think, like I said, there has to be conversations that definitely needs to be talked about in the beginning, and even throughout the entire time, because things ebb and flow. There's sometimes, especially during pregnancy, after birth, hormones up and down, monthly. I mean, there's just so many things women that
Mm.
we go through. Yeah, I have no clue.
And nope. Nope. Yeah,
So
yeah, that's sex ed. They don't go
no, they
into
don't.
that.
They definitely don't do that in sex
Yeah,
ed.
they
No,
don't go into all that.
no, no. So, but I think we've figured out what our roles are, and we have to be intentional about it together.
Yeah, they talk about mental health and all kind of other stuff more than this.
Oh yeah,
Everything
absolutely,
else.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. So,
Mm.
how do you feel we were with decision making? I think we were pretty good with that. Like, I think
Like, what do you mean? Like
like
what?
where to live, where to worship, how we want to raise our kids. I know when we first got married,
Woo!
I did give you the option because I was
You
already
did.
at a church. I was established at a church. I
That's pretty
loved
big.
my church. And I was like, no, you're the man. If you don't want to go to this church,
She
I'll
said she did
follow
say that.
you.
You
I'll
did say
follow
that.
you wherever you go.
You said that.
And then I said, but look, come to my church first and just
Yep.
see how it goes. And then,
I was like, okay, this is it. Yeah. Yeah. Um. That's one thing we did discuss.
yeah,
You
and
know.
that is one thing we did discuss. Yes.
So that is that's big because I think
Because I came in an upbringing where my mom and dad go to separate
different
churches,
churches. Yeah.
which we just never understood. It is what it is. But we never I mean, we just there's two,
Yeah.
there's
I don't.
Baptist and then there's
So
so
that's where I guess I'm when you talk about old fashioned. That is one of my old fashioned things. I feel like that would to me as a man. I just feel like I'm not doing a good enough job as a man to make you want to come with me.
Mm,
Or
okay.
in our case, I went to your church, so
Right. Right.
um, but
But I know from my upbringing, that is something that I really desired, is that we would worship at the same church,
yeah,
because I
I don't.
wanted my kids to see their parents at the same church.
Yeah, and I just think it's a part of being on the same page. It's just
Hmm.
one part of it.
Yeah. Oh,
I
absolutely.
don't think you can really have a healthy marriage and be on different pages all over the place. I don't
Yeah. I
know.
mean, there's some. I mean, there's differences, and then there's some big differences. So,
Yeah,
yeah. And then I think like where we wanted to live, we were kind of always pretty much good with that. Like I said, you wanted the big house in the faraway land.
we did that,
I followed
and
you
that was a
because,
mistake.
but
Um,
that's what you wanted. So I'm like,
I
let's
didn't
do this.
necessarily want it far away land. It was just what I was able to do. The type of house that was the only way
Right.
I was
You
able to
wanted
do
that type
that.
of house.
So I
Yeah.
didn't necessarily want it there, but um, that was the only way we were going to be able to actually get that.
Right. Right.
So
So we did it. We came back to the city, and we've been good ever since. So
yeah,
that was a decision that we really had to,
yeah.
we had to talk about. We had to, it wasn't just you having the final say on that one. And then I think our
Mm-mm.
other big topic with decision making was raising our kids, because we have two totally different upbringings. I know one thing that we had never really,
We had some bumps on that.
yeah, the one thing we, like, I will say, like, currently we never really agreed, but we agree to disagree, is like the whole car when you turn 16.
Hmm.
Like, I never had a car when I was 16. I had to wait till I
You
graduated. And with you guys were, when y'all turned 16, y'all got a car. So I think in the beginning, I really wanted to stand my ground on that.
it wasn't just you turn 16, you get a car. If you
You
earn
have the
it,
grades, yes.
if you got the grades you were supposed to get and you did the things you were supposed to do, you're not gonna sit there and be disrespectful and get rewarded. You're not
Right,
gonna get bad
absolutely.
grades and get rewarded. So yeah, I mean, it was an incentive thing. Like you know, on top of that, I've watched other kids just do rob people, like just do things that you don't see,
Right.
and I'm like, so I'm gonna be hard on them, and they're doing right, and there's kids out here doing whatever, and so I didn't think I should be, I don't know, that hard on them if they actually earned and did what they were supposed to do. If they didn't do what they're supposed to do, then it's like, okay, you lose this. It's actually, to me, was like a reward system. Like, it gives you something to reach towards instead of just do it because you're supposed to or because I said so.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you're right. We did have different.
We have different
Yeah.
things with that. But even with any of the roles and everything that we've talked about, when there were moments where, like when I didn't follow through with the financial, paying the bills and stuff, like, you know, there were consequences. Like, the consequences were, I'm going to take it over for a while, and
Consequences.
I took it as a consequence.
Consequences.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I missed the bill, and you were
Did you
like,
get? Would you get punished or spanked? Which consequence was it?
it wasn't a physical
Yeah.
consequence, but it was a, repercussion of what happened. Like, you wouldn't still allow me to still pay the, like, you had to take it away for a little bit of time and be like, I'm going to show you, how I would like it done. And once I saw it, I'm like, okay, yeah. But like I said, we were in a point where the grace wasn't given, yada yada yada.
No, Grace wasn't so. Here, listen to quick example. Like if when you teach the kid when we teach the kids to, let's say, sweep the floor,
Mm-hmm.
if you take the sweeper out and you do it for them
Mm-hmm.
and say, no, this is what I meant. This is the way I meant to do it. This is how you do it right.
Mm-hmm.
That's not actually a punishing them. Punishment is to go to the room, take the phone, or spanking or something like that. That's a punishment.
Okay,
If
so
you take it and you make sure it gets done right, that's not actually a punishment.
so then what would you call it then?
Take it and make sure it got done right. Make sure it got done right. And
Okay,
you took it as a punishment, though.
I took it as a consequence for it not being done uh, the way it should have been done.
I mean, the consequence is bad credit. There's other consequences. There are
Okay.
consequences.
Okay. So then the question is, when you've had the conversation, and if you've established the roles, and that spouse does not hold up to their end, what do? You keep having conversations, or are there consequences?
You do. Okay. Consequences are going to be built in when you mess something up. Like if it's
Okay.
bad enough, it's going to be
Right.
built in
Which is
consequences.
right, which is
So,
what I
but
said.
yes, you do need to keep talking about it.
Oh,
So you can
absolutely.
grow because
Okay.
you're going to stay stagnant and stay in the same spot, and not learn anything.
Okay.
Just like I said, even with them, when we were showing them something,
Hmm.
um, the only way we didn't get to a punishment or a consequence unless they continued after we
Continue.
talked to
And
them or something. But yeah,
sometimes the way we picture stuff and the way it's being done are two totally different things. So yes, you still have those conversations, but then
what does that? What do you mean?
okay, sexual intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
You like stuff done a certain way. If I did not initiate,
Mm-hmm.
my consequence would be you would either back all the way up and show no affection because you're trying to prove your point, or the positive thing would to be able to model it because sometimes we have to have it modeled.
But you're what you're doing right now is assuming what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm backing in to prove a point. I'm backing off.
Okay.
What if I'm backing off because I feel like I'm too much, and
Okay.
I'm trying to give you grace and space to come to me when you're ready? See what I'm saying? That's when you're making your own narrative and saying I'm doing something for this reason. You made a whole story out of why I'm doing something,
Okay.
and it's not the story.
Okay.
That's part of that was part of our problem.
Right. Okay. I give you that. But I like I said, so then you back off until when? I know we've had
I don't know
conversations. You were
until
like, I was
when.
just going to wait and see when
Sometimes,
you did something.
sometimes you're given space. It's just like if I have a dog corner and I keep coming toward it, I'm aggressive, the dog is never going to come to me. It's never going to trust me. Sometimes I have to back off and let the puppy come to me, put the foot in my hand and back off instead of me always being the
Being
aggressor.
aggressive. Okay.
So yeah, I backed off
Okay.
to allow you to have space to when you were ready.
Okay. I mean, I think like if you've had the conversation and it still is not being shown the way you want it to show up, then what is your recourse?
And I don't think it's just conversation. Like to me, there's different things than just talking. Like there's communication other ways. Just like a dog, we can talk to a dog verbally. We
Mm-hmm.
can say things, but my body language, me backing off, me not being dominant up over the dog, me backing off and giving it grace,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes is another way to communicate. You can come to me. I'm allowing you to come to me. I'm over here. I'm not even looking. I'm doing this. So that way the puppy can get comfortable
Okay.
and do its thing and grow without me just talking it to death. Like sometimes you just gotta give space.
Okay. I mean,
So
I'm all
yes, you can
for the
talk.
space.
Talk is
Yes.
great, but
Talk is great.
talk is not every answer either.
Right. Okay. And then sometimes you just have to wait and see.
You have to give time for it to develop and like it's not going to just happen like that. You have to
Okay.
allow them to in their time because I can't tell that from this species, that dog or this dog, how long that's gonna. It's not all the same time. It's up to that individual when they're going to come over to you, if they come over to you at all.
Okay. That's good. I mean, like I said, I think the conversations are needed. And sometimes you have to revisit those expectations. Sometimes they need to be adjusted. Sometimes, um, yeah, sometimes they need to be adjusted. And it just really depends on what the role is that you're having those issues with.
Hmm.
But I think everything in moderation, conversations.
Hmm.
I still say consequences
Balance.
on some things. There should be a balance, and sometimes you have to model it.
Hmm.
Sometimes we don't know. Like you said, you weren't brought up to do a certain thing, so
Hmm.
some stuff has to be modeled for you so that you can see it.
Hmm. But and that's another thing. You have to know your spouse. Like I know my wife is a underdog champion. Like she throws on the cape every time there's news on about somebody getting hurt, bruised, pinched, blown on, anything. She's ready to. Ah! So you got to know your spouse. Like I know she is a big, victim advocate. Even if it's not really a victim, sometimes she's still trying to make them a victim. So you got to know that. You got to know that about your spouse.
Okay, I give you
So
that. I give you that.
so yeah. So there's times where just like I'll blow things out of proportion on this end, you might blow things out of proportion on another end. So
Okay.
we just have to know we've grown and we kind of know each other a little better than when we first started. So that part definitely helps when you're paying attention to that.
Yeah.
And our kids know that too
Right. Kids
about
know
both
that
of us
too.
because they clown us about both of our extremes sometimes.
Yeah.
We're a lot on a lot of things, but we're alike on a lot of things. But the things we are different about, they clown us
They
on it.
clown us on.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's our little spiel on roles and responsibilities and how they can change over time.
Yeah.
But definitely there need to be conversations continued conversations, sometimes modeling, sometimes revisiting the expectation
Yeah.
and to maybe discuss whether it needs to be changed,
Yeah. Yeah.
or if it's reasonable or unrealistic.
Yeah.
So
All of that.
all that.
We see this is we get passionate about this stuff. We done went overtime.
Yes. So
Yeah.
once again, we had a good talk this week. We want everyone to make sure that you are connecting next with the upcoming week. Be intentional about doing that, um, and just take the time to love on each other. And the more time that you spend, I think it becomes easier to do those things that seem hard. The
Hmm.
talking, the being in each other's space, just loving on each other. So just really, really be intentional about that. We want
Hmm.
to make sure that everybody's on our email list so that you can get our weekly emails. Drop your email on here or either on our website and help us grow our community. Let your friends know other like-minded couples who want to take their marriage to another level, and just talk all things marriage and get encouragement and
Events, all of it.
support as we go through this wonderful journey. So,
Yeah.
everybody have a wonderful and amazing week. And remember to communicate with care and connect with intention. See y'all.
Mm.